Love, to me, is the truth. Love means connection. Love means surface. Love means honesty. Love is affirming. And everything else separates. Everything else, when there's no love, it separates you. And Jesus said that.
It's a word that is so deep on so many levels.
Yeah. And it can take courage to love. It means sometimes dropping the guards. It means just being open. But that to me is always why I've acted, or as a parent, as a husband in life, it's about that. So that's what I constantly work on.
It gives me great pleasure to present a special Tony Award tonight to my husband, Hugh Jackman. Hugh is being recognised for his extraordinary contribution to the Broadway community, both as a performer and as a humanitarian. A cause close to Hugh's heart is Broadway Cares, Equity Fights AIDS, and last year, during the 10-week run of his show, Hugh Jackman Back on Broadway, he broke records, raising nearly $2 million. Yeah. These funds supported hundreds of AIDS family service organizations across the country, and I am thrilled, on behalf of the Tony Awards Administration Committee, to present this special Tony to a special man, Hugh Jackman.
She's never kept a secret her entire life. I'm just off to the loo. I was like, all right, see you in a bit. As I hold this in my hand, there is something I hold in here, which is the real reason why I'm here today, why any of this is possible, and why, come here baby, why any of this means anything. And that is because my incredible wife and my kids support me. I love you with all my heart. I know how much you hate public speaking. This is probably the greatest thing you've ever done for me. And really, it means a lot.
Of all the things that have happened to me in my life, of all the ups and downs or the lucky strokes or whatever, the most fortuitous thing that happened to me was meeting Deb, because I knew 100% that was what was the right thing to do. And I'm a relatively indecisive person, by the way, but that was the one thing I knew 100%, that she was going to be my lifelong partner.
In any relationship, in any marriage, there's good times, bad times, hard times, and great times, and it's just always in here.
Whatever happens for us, and the great joy of becoming parents, or whatever, the travel, or what's happened in my career,
whatever part comes across our path, I know we're meant to tackle it together.
And whether things go down into whatever happens, I know that I'm meant to be doing it with Deb.
And truly, she's the greatest woman I've ever met, ever.
He is very good at making me a happy wife.
Strength and real courage is in opening your heart, not closing it.
And the Corelli, you can almost feel it when you see the photos of Corelli.
How many of your clients do you hug, please? I watch you every morning when you come into this yard. Your eyes searching on the first person that you look for. I see your warmth behind that tiny little smile.
When we worked together, it was just, he was thrilling to work with. There was just when you meet someone you can dance with, we just knew how to move together. And it was so, wonderful. Well, anyway, falling in love is wonderful.
Do I excite you? Do you dream about me? It's my God, I dream about you.
She was quite an accomplished actress when you were on that, right? She had done 20 movies or something.
20 or 25 movies, and we met on a TV series called Corellis.
And I should mention, she was a cougar before cougars were cool.
It was also my first job, and I was fully aware this was a cliche, and I was probably being ridiculous, so I backed off. But right from the beginning, we were great friends.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But were you reluctant?
So reluctant. My New Year's resolution was I'm not dating any actors, and definitely none under 30. He's my husband.
The heart says yes, the head says no.
More than anyone else on the planet, I love hanging out with her. And if I'm somewhere where she's not there, I want to share it with her, you know. And she is not only my love and my wife, she's my best friend.
I believe that we do have, soulmates or partners in this life. And when I met Hugh, there was just a click, and it wasn't, love at first sight. Like the second day, I looked at him, and it was just, I knew there was a knowingness, and I sort of felt like he got me, and he was cute, but it wasn't just about that. There was something that just gelled. And I looked at him then and thought, this man will be in my life as a friend. And then it developed into something else.
I feel like one of the luckiest guys alive.
When you meet someone and they are just confident and honest enough in themselves to be exactly who they are, and Deb had that in spades. In fact, I don't think I've ever met anyone like that. And instantly, that makes you feel, well, I can just be me completely. Even the bits that I don't normally show people, even the bits that are a little embarrassing or whatever, obviously there has to be a physical attraction, and my wife is probably one of the funniest people I've ever met, but she's open and positive and up, and through her, she's given me a lot. I've changed a lot. She's given me a lot of confidence, and she's really, she's fun. Life is fun with her.
They always said they wanted to have lots of children. And of course they tried it, and they had a couple of miscarriages, unfortunately.
To be clear, Deb and I always wanted to adopt, so that was always in our plan. We didn't know where in the process that would happen, but biologically, obviously, we tried, and it was not happening for us. And it is a difficult time to do IVF, and Deb had a couple of miscarriages.
But I'll never forget the day Oscar was born.
He was this child, this is his destiny, and we found each other, and it's a huge moment.
The moment Oscar was born, all the heartache just melted away, and it's one of the great, you guys, many of you are parents, you can't prepare for that moment. Nothing can prepare you. You can't even explain how incredible it is, and that avalanche of emotion that comes and how it opens up your heart.
Oscar was X-Men 1 and Ava was X-Men 3. That's how I remember our trip together.
Both of us understand the idea of not coming from the complete nuclear family, and that really love wins out in the end. We dedicate our marriage to just that idea of service.
Both Deb and Hugh are unbelievably grounded, normal people. For what they do, it's incredible. And you can't help but admire it.
Love means service. The world goes around, just look at any family. Every day, people doing things for other people. That's how it works. For us, the idea that you work hard, you'll get somewhere is not always the case. In places like Ethiopia, they're not just battling with issues of development and poverty. It's the environmental impact from developed countries that's really hitting them the hardest. So I made a pledge to Dikali that when this week was on at the United Nations, I'd use my voice, the best weapon I have, with Tim to make his case and make sure that the poor are absolutely represented.
Really, the journey began when I was in Ethiopia with World Vision. I'm an ambassador for World Vision. And I spent a day working on a farm with Dikali and working on his farm, seeing how hard he worked. And I made a promise to him I'd do whatever I could to try and help him out. So when my partner said, let's try and do a business with coffee and all the proceeds go to charity, I was like, I'm in. So this is it.
So this is your, what is it called?
Laughing Man Coffee. Laughing Man Coffee. All will be happy.
I
163 million orphans, children living without permanency, without families, without education, medical care, and good mental health. And this is my partner. She's on the board of WWO, and then we do something else together. We try to really make sure people understand how important it is to have a permanent family, and that's adoption.
The entire story of the organisation that Deb started really just led from just reading this article.
I saw this story about a Chinese woman that had found a baby in China. She adopted the child while she's in China. She's Australian. She was trying to bring the child back, and she couldn't bring the child back into the country.
If these laws are going to be so restrictive, what's going to happen to these 150 million kids? They miss out. They are developmentally miles behind, and basically never have a chance to reach their full potential. So many children around the world are denied their basic rights.
And making the rights of all children a reality is why we are all coming together here today. Every voice counts and every child counts.
She's a very selfless person and she's doing it for the kids, and today is a testament to the amount of work she's done. I'm really, really proud of her.
We work as a family. Everything we do, we all go for the ride. We all go on Hugh's ride, we all go on my ride. And the kids, we work as a family, work as a team.
It's always about the family. It's always, how's Deb? It's not about work. This is the first time I have ever done a film away from my family. I've been lucky enough to always have them with me, and that was, we always had a rule, Deb and I, that we wouldn't spend longer than 2 weeks apart, which we didn't. I had more frequent fly miles on this job, I can tell you, than anything, but being alone, and I was living in a little cottage and alone because the nights were about resting your voice. It was really about shutting down and really just focusing on the work. Meant I left my wife with the kids, and it was really difficult. It was hard.
I love our wedding anniversary because it reminds me that everything is right in the world.
One of the greatest roadblocks to a relationship is how increasingly we take things for granted. It's easy to be asleep. Sometimes you can sleep for years in a relationship. You're not really awake, not really looking at each other's eyes, not really seeing each other for the first time. I'm going to start with the most important, my wife. I love you.
The great thing about having a relationship that is really built on trust and love is that you can talk about those deepest fears that you have. While I was doing it, I was getting emotional because, as I've said, she looked at me straight in the eye. She said, Hugh, this is exactly what you should be feeling. Yes, this is the greatest challenge of your life. Yes, this will demand more of you than anything you've ever done before. And yes, you can do it. End of conversation. I've always believed in God, and that journey is the most important journey. I call it the inner journey, and it's something you have to continue to work on. It's something Deb and I talk about. The real intimacy is being able to say anything to each other, to be able to find the time and the space to connect, to really serve each other on that deeper spiritual level. Because that, to me, is what marriage is about. It's not about what do I get out of this, it's about what can I give you. And unless on that spiritual level you're growing and your partner's growing, and your only job as a partner is to look after the other person's spiritual circle, make sure that's expanding. If you're doing that, it'll come back to you. And that's where real intimacy is found. And it has to be honest.